Jim Davidson is absolutely furious at the way Brits are being put at risk by foreign criminals and a soft-touch Home Office who seem to allow them to get away with literal murder. Watch this.
A Ugandan geezer who was jailed for life for murdering another geezer in the back of an ambulance. Right? There was a big fight or whatever, and this bloke ran to an ambulance thinking he'd be safe. No, they got in and they bashed f*** out of him with clubs and baseball bats. And he will not be deported because the judge said it would breach his, yes, you've guessed it, human rights. What the f*** is going on in our country? Do our citizens have human rights? So this geezer, the murderer, known as ZM, because somehow he's also been given anonymity, he was a member of a North London gang who chased down their victim into the back of an ambulance, clubbed him to fucking death with golf clubs, baseball bats. He was 18 at the time. He's now 37. And the Home Office have warned, the Home Office have warned everybody, we're going to deport this fucker to Uganda. Good for them. Oh, no. But an immigration judge, a lefty human rights immigration judge, has blocked it. He said it would be inhumane. Apparently, Uganda does not have the facilities required to treat this man's, yes, you've guessed it, mental health conditions. And politicians wonder why people are so fucking angry with the state of things.
Now, Matt Goodwin, what's interesting is Jim Davidson, who is a lifelong Tory and has insisted that he remains a member of the Conservative Party. Well, he was with you, wasn't he, at the Reform UK conference?
Well, I heard a rumour he was around. I didn't actually get to meet Jim Davidson, but I think there is some, what he reflects is a rising exasperation in the country, a growing exasperation down with the human rights regime, with the courts, with this blob, with this state, this deep state that seems to be intent on doing everything other than putting the British people and the rule of law first. It isn't only this horrific case, which it is horrific, but as I've mentioned, the Abdul Azidi case, the case of Thomas Roberts' murderer, the guy who murdered the pensioner in Hartlepool. We could go on and on. I'm about to release 10 of the most horrific cases in the UK. And for many people, you know, Dan, this is what I still think ultimately the riots and the protests were about. This is where I put myself out and caused a bit of controversy in the summer, because I said fundamentally, you know, what these protests were about was that many people in Britain do not feel safe in their own country. Now, we can simultaneously oppose violence and criminality and say if you're stupid enough to do all of that, you should be arrested. But we can also say that the basic function of the state is to keep its people safe and secure. And these cases really do highlight the failures of the state to do the most basic thing it's supposed to do, which is keep us safe. And that is why so many Brits are feeling so anxious and depressed about the state of the country, Dan.
Best time of year, isn't it? Football is back. We're talking Premier League in the UK and in the US, NFL Sundays and college football Saturdays. And with that comes the glorious grind of fantasy football lineups. This is where your inner manager comes alive, setting the perfect fantasy roster, screaming at your TV and making last-minute waiver moves that either make you a hero or the guy everyone ridicules in the group chat. But listen, while you're over here making sure your fantasy team is dialed in, don't let your personal grooming become the guy that gets left on the bench. Because let's be honest, nobody wants to fumble their grooming routine. This is where Manscaped's Performance Package 5.0 Ultra comes in, acting as your all-in-one grooming playbook. From keeping things sharp down below with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra to taking care of those rogue era nose hairs with the Weed Whacker 2.0, this is the lineup that'll keep you looking and feeling like a champ on and off the field. It will make you feel clean, confident, and ready to dominate your fantasy league. So, the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra Groin and Body Hair Trimmer, it's the franchise player of your grooming roster. It has precise trimming capabilities, it's reliable, efficient, and gets the job done without fumbling. Whether it's for a date night, a weekend tailgate, or just everyday grooming, this is the tool you want on your squad. Now, no one wants a nose or ear hair making some sort of guest appearance on game day, so the Weed Whacker 2.0 handles those details like a pro, keeping you neat and ready to go. No missed tackles in your grooming gang. And we have 2 free gifts to offer you today as well. The Boxers 2.0 Midnight Bravo and the Shed 2.0 Toiletry Bag. premium gear to ensure you're always ready for action, whether at home and on the road. So join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped like me and get ready for kickoff by heading over to manscaped.com. If you use the code Outspoken at checkout, you will get 20% off your entire order and free shipping. So trust me, you'll be drafting the real MVP of grooming this season. So let me repeat the website, www.manscaped.com. Use the code Outspoken at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. Stay on top of your grooming game and be ready for anything the season throws your way. And we saw that with Jim. And I guess, Matt, finally, we should just say that one thing that we're both doing in our own ways is trying to bring an independent media revolution, because I think it's very, very clear, I'm sure you agree, that the mainstream media has been a big part of the problem with Brexit, with COVID, with Boris Johnson, now with their treatment of Nigel Farage and Reform UK, which is incredibly biased. So, of course, you are now a force on Substack. You're making your own short films. And there is this excitement and change in the air, isn't there? Because we no longer have to rely on the mainstream media to get our information.
I think that's absolutely right, Dan. Somebody said to me when I launched a Substack, and you'll know this too, that for the first time in history, we actually have a generation of writers, of thinkers, of campaigners who are completely insulated from the legacy institutions. They're professionally insulated from the patronage networks, from the prospect of cancellation. They're financially insulated too, thanks to the support from their subscribers and others who acknowledge the importance of promoting independent, contrarian thinkers and pushing them into the public square. And Dan, the blunt reality is you get to a certain point on these platforms, you can't be ignored. Yeah, as you know, through the ecosystem of social media, what we're doing is we're building an alternative conversation. It's not about being in a...
Said exactly the same thing, actually. I wasn't at the Reform UK conference because I was at the Together Declaration 3rd anniversary event on Friday night, and that was exactly my message. There's lots of crossover already between our two audiences on Substack. So what I've done is put the link to Matt's Substack in the show notes on YouTube, but you can visit directly as well by searching for mattgoodwin.org or entering it into your website address. But Matt is also on YouTube as well. So congratulations, How to Stop an Invasion, available now. Real pleasure to have you today, Matt Goodwin. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please do subscribe if you want lots more clips and interviews like that. Plus, if you want to watch our totally uncensored after show, then visit www.outspoken.live.